That is one of the moments. There is another moment coming that I think is just gonna blow people's minds when you see it. It's very violent and not at all what you would expect from Lucy. But that is a very great moment that I had actually forgotten about. That moment for me feels like that punch is packed, literally, pardon the pun, just with so much. There's obviously, it's another example of Lucy acting on instinct alone. It's showing you the ways that she's changed. She's no longer thinking before she acts and applying intellect and caution and, nonverbal reasoning and all those things. She is hurt and she wants to hurt this person as much as they hurt them. And when he said to her, season 1, "You're me, sweetie, just give it time," this is what he means. This is her, it's that sort of age-old prophecy. What you fear is what you create. She spent so long trying to not be like him and suppressing, and it comes out. And it's also, in a way, and I feel for the ghoul, very sorry you got punched, but in a way, all these episodes and these years of abuse that he's put her through, he cut off her finger, he used her as bait, all of these things he's done to her and all of that rage that she feels, she gets to get one good punch in.
So Norm does his norming and finds out maybe not a in-depth secret, but something that is startling, that's scary. And right at that moment, one of his community members, let's call him, Bud's assistant, realizes that he's been lying to him and to the community all along. And Norm tries to get out of this situation as smoothly as possible, but has to go into hand-to-hand combat. And this man is much larger than him and has an ability to, use the cord from the computer to put him down. Now, Norm doesn't have much power now. He can't really speak his way out of this position. So he's gonna have to use other wits and his luck to get out of this situation. So it's definitely a peculiar position to be in. So initially we think it is future enterprise ventures. And I think that's another phrase for what FEV actually is, which is a voluntary virus, which is an evolutionary virus. And there's not much else in the information other than that it's a virus given to the people in said vault. And the computer's unplugged from there. So it's something I think still to discover, but it's a clue that is very important to his vault and the connecting 3 vaults. Well, initially when we're outside finding food and he's told that the experiments, I think he has to hold his cool, keep his calm. But once he reads, I think in the sort of computer that he hacked, that he's able to see what it actually means, it's horrifying. But again, it's a split second before he can actually get more information on it. So it's all these things are coming to him, including season 1, that he never thought of. He couldn't believe ever in his life that Hank was someone that he's not. And this just adds, and there are pieces to the puzzle that he's putting together.
There's a lot going on, isn't there? I really liked them all, and then I was so excited by episode 5 that I really felt like I felt it when we were filming it. I felt like I understand Cooper now. That was really when it. For me, I knew that's where we were headed, but I felt like we really got an opportunity to say what it is we had to say with that moment for him, that I got to say that. It is changing that scene. Yeah, he does change in that scene. And we sat, which we don't normally do this, especially in TV. You don't have the time. Fallout's a different animal, but we both come from a similar school. We sat with the director, Liz Friedlander, and we talked about that, I'm gonna say, for 2 hours while we were filming. Before we started, we sat and we walked it through, and it's like, well, what's really happening here? Well, what is this? Because there's a lot of movement in it, right? And they all say different things. I didn't want to know what he was doing. I damn sure didn't want him to know what I was doing just in watching this. But geographically speaking, in the room, how do we kind of move around it? So we talked about it for a very long time. And then when it came to start shooting, we just kind of went into it. And it just changed over time. And what was so surprising to me, like if you really look at what's going on, Robert House is, I'm an actor, right? Meaning that Cooper Howard is an actor. He's got access to things for sure, but he doesn't have power, really, right? I won't say who, but we know a number of figures in the world right now that are similar to Robert House. He's one of the most well-known people in the world with Robco. Let's call it Howard Hughes. Let's just play that safe. And I would have an idea about who Howard Hughes is, but it would be so mystical getting to have that time with him. And I just watched him. And then it just started to penetrate like his worldview and like what that happens and where he's coming from. And I think like a lot of us with people in that position, you know, you're on the train until all of a sudden you think you're a lunatic, you know? And it was that process of, and if you're a lunatic, well, the rest of the world has lost its mind. And all of a sudden, for me, Cooper Howard lost all control and he knew it. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but that's what happened, you know, over the course of making it. And someone that walked into that room having a fair amount of control, even though his life was starting to spin out, he felt like, you know, I have an understanding of the world, but over the course of that, he realized that, no, I don't belong to this world anymore. I don't know what's going on. The truth is that we built it up until this moment where in that room, someone, the ghoul, being resistant to expressing any vulnerability, you know, or to seeing her as a human really does. And I don't know that the writers knew that I was going to do it this way or this was my intention, but I cared deeply for her, you know, not as a daughter. I cared for her. And I just tried to reason out, well, yeah, I am betraying you. I am this close to looking what I've been looking at for 200 years, but it pains him. And then, you know, what happens. I can't tell you what happens afterwards because I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. But it's a definite shift. But their entire journey, that is not the period on it. But it changes and evolves in ways that I didn't even anticipate. I appreciate it. That was the first time I've ever touched anyone in this show that wasn't to harm them. The first time I've ever, and it was intentional. It was, you come to the window, I just want to put my hand on her back, and they got it. And so, yeah, it was a great day.
Yeah.
You look for days like that. Yeah.